Here's how to counter every single awakening in the strongest battlegrounds. Now, there are some characters that you pretty much just can't counter with, Speed and Sound Sonic, but any other character in any other ultimate, you should be able to counter pretty easily. Okay, so specifically with Saitama, the one ability that every Saitama player will try to use is Death Counter. So whenever Death Counter is used, there's no real visual cue, there's no audio cue, you kind of just have to go off of how they act. So immediately after you use Death Counter, usually the indication is them using any type of random ability. So if someone used Death Counter and they immediately start using consecutive punches, or they just start to do uppercut or anything random, that's your indication that they have Death Counter active, and you want to leave them alone for like 10-15 seconds, and then you want to try to attack them. Now, there will be some times where you try to attack them and they still have it active and you get Death Counter, but as you can see, he doesn't have it anymore and you can just do whatever you need to do. Now, on to the next ability. So whenever you want to counter omni-directional punch, you want to always make sure you have ragdoll cancel, because everybody will try their absolute hardest to use it as soon as they down slam you. So most times, again, they will try to use it as fast as possible, and you just want to make sure the ragdoll cancel at the very last second, and then you can go ahead and do whatever combo you need to do. If you don't have ragdoll cancel, good luck, but most times you should be able to avoid it. So for Series Punch specifically, if you do get hit by the gust of wind, you're pretty much dead. You can't really do anything about it. You might be able to dash away, but as you can see, you can't really do anything. You're just dead. But it's very hard to get hit by that initial gust of wind. You kind of have to get caught off guard because the ability is very slow. It has a very slow startup. But if you don't get hit by the gust of wind, all you gotta do is just run away, because when they use the ability, they're standing in one direction and you're kind of just safe from there. All right, so specifically with table flip, you want to make sure that you're moving away as fast as possible. If the opponent is lucky enough to hit you dead on, you might be just dead either way, but most times it's kind of to the left or to the right, and you have to have good reaction time to dictate which direction they actually used it. So as you can see on this example, they're kind of to the left and you're actually able. Okay, I thought I was actually gonna get hit by that, but as you can see, we're actually able to move past that. And sometimes you just gotta be lucky with it. You gotta be as fast as possible. You have to have lightning sharp reaction time. Now we're on to the second character, which is Garou. So with Garou ultimate, whenever someone activates their ultimate, you wanna immediately start leaving the premises. And you wanna utilize your dashes, your back handstrings, and you wanna make sure you're running as fast as possible so you don't get hit by the initial slam. And with the specific abilities, the first ability that Garou will like to use is Crushed Rock. And if you're Garou, you can pretty much just counter it. It's pretty easy to counter. And yeah, as you can see, if you have pretty good reaction time, you're able to counter it. Now, if you're a different character, you can honestly just use back handsprings a lot. You can just make sure that you're dodging it and using as much good movement as possible. So with that ability specifically, you should be pretty good. That leads to the question, what do you do if there are any other abilities, like 1, 2, or 3? And for those, you would honestly just have to punish them whenever they make a mistake on Crushed Rock. So if they were to use an ability and you hit this one, you just gotta make sure you're getting up close and personal right after they end up missing their attacks, because everything else is close ranged. So if you just stay very far away and try to block whenever they front dash, because right after they use Crushed Rock, they're going to try to front dash you. So as you can see, when anybody tries to use Crushed Rock, they're immediately going to try to front dash you afterwards, and you can really just punish them right after they do that. And then everything else, they'll try to just spam attacks with you, and sometimes you will get hit, but if that happens, you can use ragdoll cancel right after and you can still punish them, because everything else they use is close ranged. So you just gotta be able to regulate how close you are and what ability they have when they're in their ultimate. But after they use Crush Rock, you can pretty much just run away. Like, you don't even have to fight them. But with that being said, now we're gonna have to get on to the worst character in the entire game, Genos. So when it comes to Genos' ultimate, the first ability that they'll always try to use is speedblitz dropkick. And at this point, you just want to make your movement as unpredictable as possible so they can't hit you with it, because most times that's the first thing that they'll try to use. As you can see, I'm just trying to move around and make sure that he doesn't have an accurate strike on me. And whenever he uses it, I can actually move around him. And then they're just pretty much far away. And then afterwards, they try to use flamewave cannon. And that's also very easy to dodge because there is some startup time with it. And at this point, you kind of just wait it out. If they get too close and they try to use speedblitz dropkick or flamewave cannon, you got to try to get behind them as fast as possible, because if you get hit by that, you will get burnt, the whole server will get burnt, and the whole lobby will get burnt. So you want to make sure to just get behind them as fast as possible. And so with thunderkick, you kind of want to just make sure to hit them while they're using it, especially if they miss. If they hit the ability, you kind of just got to wait it out. So as you can see, whenever they hit me with the ability, you kind of just want to wait until they come down, and they'll most likely try to use flame cannon right after, but you can still use combos and counteract them if they don't have ragdoll ragdoll cancel if they're either new to the game or they just don't have anything to defend themselves with. So with that being said, now we're gonna have to move on to Speed of Sound Sonic. So with Speed of Sound Sonic, you kind of really can't do anything because their ability is just extremely fast. Every single ability that they have is designed to catch up to you and it's designed to just kill you. So you just want to make sure that your movement is as precise and as sporadic as possible. Whenever they use their first ability, you just want to make sure you try to dodge it. That's the best thing you can do. If someone's good enough and they have a lot of fast sensitivity, then they might still hit you with it. And even if they do hit you with it, you want to try to ragdoll cancel as soon as possible so they can't really activate any other abilities. So as you can see, as soon as he hits me with it, I'm going to try to use ragdoll cancel and counter them right after. Now, their ragdoll cancel is a lot better since they have a teleportation ragdoll cancel. So again, it's extremely difficult to avoid this type of ultimate. You kind of just gotta pray to God, pray to Jesus, and make sure you don't get killed. But if the character's not that good, or if the player's not that good, you should be able to get around the ultimate. So with the second ability, which is straight on, for this one, you are able to block it, but you still get hit with the damage, and you can just punish them as soon as possible. So as you can see, I still get dealt damage, but I am able to punish them, and you can just do whatever you want to afterwards. It is kind of a sad story with the fact that you still get dealt damage, but at the end of the day, you are able to use it in a positive way. So that's still good. So with the third ability, the only way you can really get out of this is if they don't use it straight on and you're fast enough to dodge out of it. So if someone uses it on you, you can really just try your best to dodge out of it. And that's literally the only thing you can do. Just make sure you don't get hit by it, because you can't block, you can't really hit them because they go 50 feet in the air. So you're kind of just stuck with that. Now with the last ability, you want to make sure to dodge this ability, simply because you can't block out of this one either. If you do, you're still gonna get hit by it, and it does so much damage. Now the hitbox is very wide, so when you try to dodge it, you want to make sure that you're very far away from it. And if you do dodge it, you want to make sure you're still close to them, because there is that animation right after. But when you get hit by it, you're kind of stuck. After you get hit by it, you can't really do anything about it. So you want to make sure that you're close enough to punish them after they miss the attack. But if they do hit the attack, you better make sure you got enough health to live through it. But that being said, now we're gonna have to move on to our next character, which is Metal Bat. So with Metal Bat, the one thing you want to do is just not use ragdoll cancel. Now the reason I say this is because the first ability anyone will use is Savage Tornado, and right after they'll try to use their second ability. And now this ability, if you don't have ragdoll cancel, it will do half of your health. You get caught in it, you can't do anything else. Some people will try to ragdoll cancel at this point, but you want to just wait it out, because the second they finish it, you can just ragdoll cancel and they just jump into a random direction. Otherwise, you will lose half of your health and you won't know what to do. Now with the third ability, if you don't have ragdoll cancel, then you're kind of stuck. You gotta pray that they just miss. If they do hit you, you gotta just make sure you don't die. Most of the times you will, because it does so much damage. Once they use their second move and you ragdoll cancel out of it, it's very hard to hit the third one, because it's very hard to hit whenever someone's standing up. So once they use this ability, they're most likely gonna try to use the third one as a desperate attempt to hit you, but it'll most likely miss and you can just counter it right after. Now for the last ability, Death Blow. A lot of people will try to wait for you to make a mistake, or they'll try to wait for you to try to attack them, and then they'll use Death Blow. So for example, I could try to attack them and then immediately they'll try to use Death Blow, and then you'll just get caught. So for Blade Master, of course, you want to just make sure you're extremely far away whenever they use their ultimate, but some of their abilities are close range. There will be an ability that they use that will just have infinite range. People will try to use this one whenever you're close range, but it is easy to dodge. You just want to make sure that you're far away. So with the second ability, you kind of just want to make sure that you're not in line of sight. You just want to have crazy movement so they don't hit you with it, because when they miss, they're very far away, and then you can just run afterwards. Everything else is close range, and the hitbox is very large. So after they hit you with this, or they don't hit you with this, you just want to make sure to be as far as possible. And it's pretty much the same thing with the third and fourth abilities. So with this ability, you just want to make sure that you're not close at all. With some other characters, you want to just run away, because you will get mollywopped. So for this one, the only way they can really hit you with it is if you're already on the ground. So you want to just make sure you're not that close to them. So with that being said, that is how to counter every single awakening in the strongest battlegrounds. Thanks for watching, subscribe, and make sure to click on this video right here.